kidding. One and a two and a one, two, three. So welcome to Below the Deck Team E. And today we got our leader of the week. So we're really, really excited about today's interview. And we get to interview none other than the famous Papa Bear. So I'm going to ask you a couple of series of questions, Mr. Lewis, and I appreciate you for being on today. This has been my honor to be able to record some of the rock stars in Team Eclipse. So first off, my very first question for you, sir, is who were you back in high school? Were you like a rocker? Were you a guy with straight A's? Were you who was Erlen Lewis? Who was Papa Bear in high school?
Well, that's a great question. Thanks. Thanks for giving me. Here's my son here. I don't know. He's got long hair, but here. Who was I back in high school? Well, this is who I was. I mean, I was a guy that I was always likable. You know, I wasn't a straight A kid, but I did really good in class. I played sports, and so it was really sociable. Actually, I had friends from all different backgrounds, whether if they played sports or not. I got along with everybody. When I was in high school, so I was just that kid that just got along with everybody.
Awesome. Well, that's a great response. Thank you so much, and appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about some of your since you began with Team Eclipse, and as well as maybe even some of your work experiences. What has been one of the biggest challenges that you've experienced with this business, with this industry? What's one of those challenges that has occurred, and either during the pandemic or before? What's one of those biggest obstacles that you've come across, and then how did you solve that?
You know what? The biggest obstacle that anybody could that would come across, I guess you could say, me personally, is myself. And the reason why I say is myself is because they always say is this business is easy to do, this business is easy not to do. It's easy to do it, it's easy not to do it. So it's entirely up to me. So what I learned myself is really learning about time management, self-management, learning skills and everything, just keeping myself in that momentum, where most people would say, hey, I'm working from home, but there's really no structure, or they have to rely on someone to give them structure. So that's one thing that I've taught myself, and that was one of the things that was the challenges, was like, if you get into any kind of work, not work, I would say, but like any kind of business, whether if it's a new business that you want to pursue or something, you just got to have that structure for yourself to really discipline yourself to make yourself get through each and every day, and if you just sit there and wait for things to happen, nothing's going to happen. So it's more of a you gotta when people say I'm a self-motivator, this one will really push you and challenge you to become a self-motivator.
Excellent. Thank you for that response. And so that leads me to my next question. If you could go back in time, 88 DeLorean, flying through Sheep Springs, going 88 miles an hour, and you could talk to the young Erlen Lewis, say 18 years old, just getting ready to get started, or possibly the beginning of your business, either or, what kind of advice would you give yourself if you could go back?
Oh man, there's tons of things I could give myself, but I think one thing, if I was to go back and to my when I was 18 years old, I was in college. I actually started college when I was 17 years old. But if I could go back to that young kid that just barely got out of high school and everything, and thought that he was, he had the whole world in his hands and everything, and just gotta, look at him and say, hey, look, the world is bigger than Beaver, Utah. The world's bigger than Orem, Utah. The world's bigger than Sheep Springs, New Mexico. The world's bigger than Albuquerque. And so that's what I tell my kids, because I want to let them open their eyes. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is like we're so, so where we grew up or where we're living at, and we're just so enclosed, but we just don't realize like there's a bigger world out there. And so that's what I would tell myself when I'm going back to 18 years old, saying, hey, just remember the world is a lot bigger than what you think it is. And just keep my mind open and everything. And if, like I said, if I knew Legal Shield was around when I was 18 years old, because I was going to go to school to become an attorney, I had a friend from high school that said, hey, let's go take a business class. Fell in love with business. And but if I would have known Legal Shield was around, years ago when I was going to college, I can have been doing both of helping people get in contact with law firm as well as doing the business side of it. So, but yeah, that's a great question. So thank you very much.
Excellent. And then my last and final question for all these, because you've obviously found some success. You've gotten some paychecks during a pandemic from Legal Shield, even double dipping in the Amazon industry. What kind of advice do you have? Our team is growing, your team is growing. What advice would you give for the brand new person that's just getting started today with Team Eclipse? What would you advise them?
Follow our teaching. We're here to teach you. We're here to grow you. Unlike traditional jobs, where we're trained to do a job, most of the time, those people that are training you don't want to teach you everything that they know because they're afraid of you replacing them. Well, here we're going to teach you all the knowledge that we have. Where I don't mind being replaced with this industry. I would love someone to get above and beyond, where I'm at. And you're actually proving the pudding there, Mr. Archuleta, where you actually surpassed the person that brought you onto this industry. And so that's one thing that I love about this is there's no levels. It just keeps going up and up and up. And from a traditional job, I worked my way up. I worked my way up all the way up, and still when I worked my way up, it seemed like I was working a lot more when I was working my way up. So with Legal Shield, the higher I go up, the more I work, the more time I get to spend with what's more important to me, and that's my children. You probably hear them in the background. So that's what I tell you is if you're brand new, teach it, grab, take our teachings. It may not be for you, but you know what, we love teaching you. I love to teach people what I know. And and it just keep going. This industry will create an income for you, not right away, but it's going to create an income for you later on. And so like right now we're going through a pandemic, and there's hundreds of millions of Americans out there that don't even know how they're going to pay their bills next month, even though we did get their tax returns or whatever it may be. But, or, like we just heard a gentleman this morning said, hey, I'm relaxing, I got my unemployment. Yeah, but what happens after the unemployment's gone? How do I know? I was a recipient of unemployment, and once that money deplenishes and it's over, what do you do then? So it's always good to have a plan, C or B or whatever it is, or a side hustle like Legal Shield, and don't have to worry about paying your bills next month.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard it here, Below the Deck with Papa Bear, and I've been looking forward to this interview all week. So thank you, Mr. Lewis. I appreciate it. And for everybody watching, words of wisdom right there. You guys need to take some notes. We'll see you guys next week with our new leader. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Appreciate it as always. Humble leader and always very, very modest. You have some really, really good accomplishments you've made with our team, and it's only just beginning. So super proud of you. Have yourself a good rest of the day, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you much.
All right.